Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavaharthaya Shuddha-jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Ya imam madbadam veda
Veda
atmanam jivamantikat
Atmanam Jivamantikat
ishanam bhutabhavyasya
Ishanam Bhutabhavyasya
natato vijugupsate
Natato Vijugupsate
etad vaitat.
Etadvaitat.
These last couple of verses and continuing verses is the real exposition of that Vastu called Atma, removing the errors that we have generally been making step by step. We've been removing those errors by addressing Nachiketa's question. So this etad vaitatu, you will see here, again you will see later in the further Anuvakas also, by the Vallis. Started by saying, if you think you are seeing anything, touching anything, experiencing anything, think again. The eyes are not seeing anything. The skin is not feeling any touch. Because they're all jada. You're not experiencing anything. Who is going to experience? For you to experience, there has to be sentience. So if you think you're experiencing and therefore you're the karta, think again. That which makes seeing possible by the eyes, that which makes thinking possible by the mind, that which makes experiences possible by the mind, all of that which makes doing possible with the karmendriyas, that is what you're asking for. Without the presence of which none of these is possible. That is what you asked for, because that is not subject to punya papa. That is not subject to karana karya. That is not subject to time. That is not subject to anything. So one way of looking at it, we saw in the Dridishya Viveka Prakarana. And then again, we saw another way of looking at it, saying the entire life that we experience can be divided only into three stages. Jagar state, Sushupti state, and Swapna state. You can't have a fourth state. Although Mandukya Upanishad talks of a fourth state, there is no fourth state. Only these three states. And everything in between. And these states, who experiences sleeping? Who experiences waking? Who experiences dream? Question which one has to examine. During the waking state, all the sthula elements and all the sukshma elements are alive and manifest. In the Shushupti avastha, nothing is available. Nothing is manifest. Everything is unmanifest. And in the Swapna avastha, sthula elements are not available, but sukshma elements are available in terms of mind. They are quite independent of each other. That which makes each of these states possible and is common across all of them, that indeed is what you are asking for. Etad vaitat. Although that word is not there in this mantra, it continues the same argument. That leaves one wondering. Swapnantam, Jagadantam cha ubhau yena anupashyati. How do you experience those? By what do you experience those? What experiences those? That by which you experience all this. That which experiences all the objects in each of these states. That vastu is what you were asking for. Initially asking, saying, does such a thing exist after death? Actually, Nachiketa probably knew there's something, otherwise he would ask that question. But he said there's a lot of doubt. Everybody has a question saying, what happens after death? Does something exist? Including devatas. You will talk about devatas. The Shruti addresses that also. And if the one who is the sleeper, the waker, and the dreamer, is that different from the one that I'm talking about, who is the common factor amongst all of them? What Mandikopanishad calls the Chaturthi, Turiya. There's no Chaturthi though. That is one that makes all this possible. And what one has to understand, what causes all the confusion, all the paradox that we keep coming across, is because the two are the same and yet they're different. Now, this is something which in our daily life we have a problem with understanding. That turiya, that commonality with all of them, and each one of these, they are identical and yet they're different. How do you understand something like that? So, the Shruti automatically leads us into the next mantra. Really, if you look at this mantra very carefully, the sleeper, the waker, and the dreamer, who is what we call jiva. Unfortunately, we also call it I. I dreamt. I slept. But Shastra says you didn't. You can't. Not in the form that you're identifying I with. That Tvam-pada, which is our initial starting point. And if you think of the common Turiya as the Tat-pada, they are the same and yet they're different. How do you know this? So he says in this previous mantra, this is Tvam-pada and Tat-pada. What is the Tat-pada? Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. Mahanta Vibhuhu. That Atma Matva, having known. Known as what? As not being different from the waker, sleeper, and dreamer. And yet different. Matva. Matva is your aikyam. Knowing them to be the same. Knowing the dreamer, sleeper, and waker as being non-self-existent. As borrowing their existence from that Atma. The same idea the mantra brings up in the next mantra. It says, Ya imam madvadam veda atmanam jiva mantikat. More clearly it will come up, brings out in this. Ishanam bhuta bhavyasya etad vaitat. Therefore, na vijugupsate. If you break it down, it says, Ya imam madvadam. What is imam madvadam? The experiencer that we see, the experience of what? Of karma phala. Madvadam, madhu karma phalam atti. One who, atti literally means eat. One who enjoys the karma phalam. Madhu is honey. The one who enjoys karma phalam, atti, iti madvadaha, madvadam. Madvadaha tam. That madvadaha, the experiencer of karma phala. Imam madvadam veda. In the previous mantra, the waker, sleeper, and dreamer who experiences a waking state, dream state, and sleep state, that jiva, imam madvadam jivam, knowing this jiva as what? Atmanam bhuta bhavyasya ishanam. This Atma, Jiva Atma, bhuta bhavyasya ishanam, the one who is the Lord of time, one who is not subject to time. Otherwise, we know everything subject to time. Therefore, change. Therefore, beginning and therefore an end. But Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya, the one who is absolute in terms of time and space. Knowing the Jivatma and this Atma, Ishanam, as what? Jivam Antikat. Antikat literally means near. But here what he's saying is knowing as Abhinna. The Jiva, the experiencer of all the three states, that we saw in the previous mantra, who has no existence of his own, who has no experiences of his own, and yet we call him the experiencer, because of which Bhuta Bhavyasa Isha to be Antikat, non-separate from each other. The Jivatma is non-separate from Paramatma. Mahavakya has come. That is the Mahavakya. Ya imam madbadam jivam atmanam bhuta bhavya sa ishanam antikat. The one who knows this identity, Veda is vacuum. One who knows his identity, commonality, the sameness of Jivatma and this Paramatma, that is what you're asking for. Etad vaitat. What is the consequence of this knowledge? Na vijugupsate. Thus has no desire for protection. You remember our Purusharthas. Artha, Kama, Dharma. Artha is all security. Why do I want the security? Because I have a misunderstanding that I need security. Because the I that I have assumed I to be is separate from everything else. From the river, water, mountains, everything. From he, she, it, and he with a capital H. Separate from all of them. By itself, Dvaitam is not the cause for bhaya or insecurity. Bhaya and insecurity are related. I see a sunset, I have no bhaya. I know the sun will rise tomorrow morning. Bhaya will come if I think the sun is not going to rise tomorrow morning. But there are so many things here that one or the other is always causing me trouble. So what do? I try to make myself bigger, better, stronger, more knowledgeable, constantly. And find that each time I make myself a little bigger, there is another bigger, another stronger. That is why we all go through the phase in life where every religion tells you, Yamarikka bhaimen. Why are you afraid? I am here. But you're looking at that external as a security, like a crutch. The local gunda will come, give me hafta. I will protect you. Don't worry about other people. I will protect you. I am the local dada. Till a bigger dada comes. Till then I am the dada. I'll protect you. Where is the security? It doesn't matter how big you become, how strong you become, how powerful you become, including Trump, who thinks he's the most powerful man in the world. He probably is. He is also afraid. He's finding his rating going down to 30% or something now. There is no way you can feel totally secure. If I have a crutch, I know right now I'm feeling secure, but it's because this crutch breaks, I can never feel secure. I will always be striving to become bigger, 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 bigger. That reminds me, who is bigger? Mr. Bigger or Master Bigger? Somebody asked him, who is bigger, Mr. Bigger or Master Bigger? There's a fellow called Bigger. Name itself was Bigger. I don't know. He said, no, Master Bigger is bigger because it's a little bigger. You always find something else is bigger. When can you feel totally secure? When this aikyam becomes clear. When this non-separateness becomes very clear. Tataha na vijugupsate. There is no desire for protection. Otherwise, all the time we are praying to Ishvara. Pahimam, Rakshamam. Without really understanding what we are praying for. Many, many prayers you will find says Pahimam. Protect me. From what? Protect me from what? If I know I am where there is no second, therefore there's nothing that can be bigger. There is no little bigger. There is no cause for fear. Therefore, there is no desire for protection. Our concept of protection itself is you surround yourself with black cats and you think you're protected. Physically protected. Are you? Indira Gandhi was fully protected, so-called. You can never be protected. Never feel totally secure. Only when that aikyam becomes clear. Therefore, Yum Madhvadam Veda as what? Ishanam Antikat. Non-separate from Isha. That Isha which is Master of Bhuta Bhavya. Only then can you relax and say, I am totally secure. I don't need a crutch. Tataha na vijugupsate. That which is the same, that Jivatma and Paramatma is the same, and that is what you want to know, the Etat Vaitata. Complete Mahavakya. A Mahavakya is one that clearly shows us the aikyam. And the result of the aikyam is no security requirement. Previous one it said, Dhirahana Shochati. Where the question of fear or security or being subject to any kind of grief, not there at all. Matva dhiraha na shochati. That is what you wanted to know. We'll read the Bashyam. Yeah. Yaha kashchid imam madvadam
यः कश्चित् इमं मद्वदं
karmaphala bhujam
कर्मफलभुजं
karmaphala bhujam jivam
कर्मफलभुजं जीवं
pranadi kalapasya
प्राणादिकलापस्य
dharayitaram
धारयितारं
atmanam veda
आत्मानं वेद
janati
विजानाति
antikat
अन्तिकात्
antike samipe.
अंतिके
अन्तिके
समीपे शानम
Okay, we'll see. Ya kashchid imam, kashchid, someone. Imam madvadam karma phala bhujam. The one madvadam is, Bhashyakara says, the experiencer of karma phala. That jiva, karma phalam bhujam jivam, who experiences some purusha, commonly all humanity, thinks that I am the karma phala bhokta. That karma phala bhokta, but in this case, of this there are a few who are adhikari, who are ready to try and understand that notion of the experiencer is flawed, because their mind has been made ready to absorb this knowledge. The adhikari, kashchit adhikari, some people of all the humanity who considers, each one considers himself or herself to be the bhokta, some of them, they understand it one step better. What? That karma phulam jivam pranadi kalapasya dharayitaram atmanam veda. The one who is the dharayitaram, dharayita is the one who is the holder of, sustainer of all the pranadi kalapa. Kalapa is group, samuha. One who is a controller, is the holder of all of them. Pranadi, prana adi. All the senses, all the jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, everything, that atmanam veda. The thoroughly prepared mind is able to understand who is this dharayita. These senses, these things, we only see they are not independent. They are dependent on something else. So that dharayita atmanam veda, vijanati. Veda, vijanati, no need to give another word for it. It's so clear, but Bhashyakara gives Veda, vijanati. How? Katham? Katham vijanati? Antikat. Antike samipe.
अन्तिके समीपे
Ishanam.
ईशानम्
ईशितारं भूतभव्यस्य
ईशितारम् भूतभव्यस्य
कालत्रयस्य
कालत्रयस्य
तद्विज्ञानात् ऊर्ध्वं
तत्त्वज्ञानादूर्ध्वम्
आत्मानं
आत्मानं
न विजुगुप्सते
न विजुगुप्सते
न गोपायितुम् इच्छति
न गोपायितुम् इच्छति
अभयप्राप्तवात् अभयप्राप्तत्वात्
अभयप्राप्तत्वात्
knowing this dharita as that one which is the controller, not a very good word, but I can't think of another word, of all karyakarana sanghata. That Atmanam Veda as what? Antikat. So Bhashyakara Antike changes it to Antike. Samipe. You can't get closer than yourself. Samipe. Near or non-differentiated. Abhinatvena. Who understands, who sees this as non-differentiated from oneself. What is non-differentiated? Ishanam, the Lord. The one who is not subject to time. Bhuta bhavyasya ishitaram. One who has total again control of time. So not subject to time. Not subject to time immediately means no change, no birth, no death. Not subject to time. Time is itself subject to this. Ishanam, Ishitaram, Bhuta Bhavyasya, Kalatrayasya. Bhuta and Bhavya only is given here. Our Bhashyakara says Kalatrayasya. Not subject to Kala at all. Knowing that to be the same, non-differential, Abhinnatvena. This is a prayer. You remember in Bhagavad Gita, all the time we talk about Ananya Bhakti. I want to know how I am not different from you. Knowing the non-difference, understanding the non-difference, because it's a prepared mind. Kachit dhiraha. Knowing that, tad vigyanat urdhvam. Post that understanding, post that knowledge, because it's a prepared mind, tad vigyanat urdhvam atmanam na vijugupsate. Vijugupsate means na gopayitum ichchati. Has no desire for protection. He doesn't pray to anybody saying, Pahimam, Trahimam. There's no need. I have to have this protection by somebody else or something else till such time that I assume the I that I know I to be as limited. However big, I'm still limited. Something else is bigger. Something else is stronger. Somebody else is more knowledgeable. Somebody else is more skilled. I will never get to the state where I say, I am the ultimate. Therefore, there will always be this desire for protection. Protection by the local police, the local dada, the local MLA. I want protection all the time. No, I become very big, I become multimillionaire, I still need protection. In fact, I need more protection. I now need a Z category protection. All the time, that's all we're doing. And there's no end to this. Kalatrayasya bhuta bhavyasya ishanam antikat tat vigyanat urdhvam. As a consequence, post that clarity of knowledge, na vijugupsate. Vijugupsate is what is called sananta. The desire to do something. We have mumukshu, the desire for moksha. Moksha is desire for moksha. Mumukshu is the one who is desiring moksha. That's a derivation of that. There is no desire for protection. Protection from what? Bhashyakara says, na gopayitum ichchati. There is no desire to seek protection. Why? Abhaya praptatvat. It's already gained that state. Only when you have clarity of understanding of Advaita Vedanta, no Dvaitam. There is not I and non-I. Dvaitam means I and non-I. That non-I includes everything. And there are trillions of those non-I, including whichever form of Ishvara I think of. And I am therefore subject to threat from one or more of them. Sometimes I see in Tamil also we say, Bhaya Bhaktiyudan Irkan. Hey, you don't need to be Bhaya. Sometimes I see in church also, they write these big boards. Some of those things they write, they're scary. They try to scare you, induce Bhaya in you. There is no need for Bhaya. But as long as you have this I non-I separation, there will always be Bhaya. And therefore, there will always be need for protection. Physical protection, emotional protection, property protection. Something or the other is always wanting to be protected. There is no need for protection for one who has understood that Vigyanat urdhvam na vijugupsate na gopayitum ichchati abhaya praptavat. He has gained abhayam. When we did a whole 3-day session on abhaya, just on abhaya, how to understand abhaya. When you take sannyasa, one of the rituals we do is called abhaya pratishtha. A commitment not to be the cause of fear for any other being. I cannot be the cause for any other being, nor can any other being be the cause of fear for me. How will that abhaya come? Only when one understands this. Even if one understands this to the level of paroksha, even then a lot of this will disappear. Fear will disappear. But when one understands this aparokshataya, there is no chance for fear. Because immediately the question is, fear what? There is no fear. Abhaya praptatvat. Therefore, he doesn't need any protection. Therefore, there's no desire for protection. Such a person, tatha na vijugupsate, yavadhi
Yavadhi
यावद्धि
maya bhaya madhyastha
भयमध्यस्थः
Madhyastha
anityamatmanam manyate
अनित्यमात्मानं मन्यते
तावत् गोपायितुम् इच्छति
तावत्
Tavat
गोपायितुम्
Gopayatum
इच्छति
Ichchati
आत्मानम्
आत्मानम्
yavadhi. Indeed, when in the midst of this world of fear, the world we live in is full of fear. We are only increasing it, we are not decreasing it. Everything is subject to causing fear, including new technologies. You read all these articles about AI now, I think more than half the articles talk about how damaging it is going to be for individuals and for society. Fear. Climate is fear. Climate change is fear. Everything is fear. Yavadhi bhayamadhyastha, living amongst, in the midst of this bhaya, anityamatmanam manyate. Thinks of the self as anitya. Not knowing that the concept I have of I is false. The concept I have of I is one that is anitya, subject to time, appears in some point in the time scale and disappears in some point in time scale. What appears and disappears? Sharira. And whole question that Nachiketa asked was, what happens after Sharira falls? Do I disappear? Does I disappear? Does it exist? As long as I am still within that time and say that which is anityam atmanam manyate, tavat gopayitum ichchati. You need protection. Why do you need protection? Because in every way you are subject to change. Physically you change, emotionally you change, your property holding, mind changes all the time. Therefore, Gopayitum Ichchati, protect me physically, protect my property, protect things which I think are mine, protect me emotionally, protect me intellectually. Very idea of protection in all our prayers is often misunderstood. You're seeking protection from something because you're subject to change. You're time bound. You know death is coming. Death of what? Not of I. I don't die. I am not born. I love the way Swamiji explained it to small children. We think they don't understand. We are the ones who are struggling to understand because we formed very strong notions in our head. Never born, never die. I am not subject to time. Anityam. If I think I am anityam, finished. Anityam manyate tavat gopayitum ichhati. Because there is fear. Fear for my life, fear for my body, fear for my mind. You see old people who are losing their memory, who got Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, and fear strikes immediately. What happens to me after 20 years or 50 years? Will I also have go into the same state? Fear. My mind will go. Today, I'm very proud of my ability to think and analyze. Will it go? Will my body go first? Our Gopaitum Ichhati. Therefore, please protect me. How can anybody protect you? Body will deteriorate. Mind will go down. Everything will change. As long as you identify with those things which change, which are anitya, atmanam anityam manyate, tavad gopayitum ichhati. You have to then, you have no choice but to ask for protection. I want to be protected. When you understand what the reality is, because the person is kashchit dhiraha, is a well-prepared mind, and has gone through the whole process of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, when he has got to that stage, will there be fear? Will there be a need for protection? Where we are and seeing the kind of thing that's happening around us, wearing these awkward clothes, which should normally be total protection because the things you have understood, sometimes that itself becomes the cause of fear, or can become the cause of fear. You stand out. And there are enough people around who express very strong dislike for this. This can become fear. Anything can be fear. As long as one doesn't understand. Only when that clarity of is there, I am not this body, mind, sense complex. Body will deteriorate, body will die, mind will deteriorate, wealth that you've generated will disappear. If not the taxman, then your own relatives might be waiting. कब मरेगा ये ले जाएंगे इनसे. Everything is going. Nothing is going to stay. Relationships will go sour. What is it that will not change? As long as anityam atmanyam manyate, it is definitely is going to be need for protection, desire for protection. I want to be protected. Hey Prabhu, please protect me from income tax raids. Yeah. Protect me from enemies. Protect me also from my friends. They sometimes become more difficult than the enemies. Yavad he is indeed Yavad he bhayamadhyastha. We are smack in the middle of this jagat which is fraught with fear. Anityam manate tavad gopayitum ichhati atmanam. Therefore, I want protection. You see in these movies, I think some of it is true. You run any kind of commercial enterprise, where people will come and tell you, I will protect you. You pay me so much per week, hafta. Including the local police cop, beat cop, come and tell you, you pay me this, I will protect you. If you don't pay me this money, Buddhas will come and break up your shop. And we all going through the same thing. Very beautiful mantra. See, the part of this mantra is talking about aikyam and understanding the aikyam. You are a madvadam. Madvadam jivam. When you understand Ishanam bhutabhavyasya antikat avinnatvena pashyati, then there is no need for protection, no need for fear, no protection required. With all that, Swamiji, I still need protection in this jagat, this body I need to protect. Why? Let it go. I am not involved. That is the beauty of this paradox. Everything is only Brahman. I is Brahman. Everything is only Brahman. Without that Brahman, there is nothing. Without the clay, there is no pot, there is no jar, there is no lid, there is no nothing in the universe of clay products. Without Brahman, which I have to understand as Ishanam Bhutabhavyasya, there is nothing. In that kind of situation, what do you want to be protected? From whom do you want it to be protected? The same kind of thought you will see in other Upanishads also, which we'll look at in the next class, because it runs across the entire Shastra. Understand it, nothing else is required. That is why everything is only understand. Jignasa. You move from being a mumukshu to jignasu. We will see how. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.
धन्यवादाः नमस्काराः पुनः मिलामः स्वामी
Om Swami.
शुभदिनं शुभदिनं
धन्यवादः
सर्वेषां शुभदिनं प्राप्तु
Thank you, everybody.
धन्यवादः.